Here are the 5 things I would change about the Palworld TCG or add. Starting from number 5, which is the least important in the long run, I do think something needs to be done about it, to 1, which is the most important. I will quit this game if this doesn't get changed or something doesn't happen about this. Number 5 is going to be there are too many interrupt cards. Interrupt cards allow you to prevent damage from an attack by using resting one soul or discarding a card from your hand. This is a powerful effect in moderation. It is a good effect in moderation. You really want to have this as a thing that's not for every archetype in your game, because if you have the disruption or defensive disruption, as I like to call it, in every format. Like, you don't want guns to have every single type of disruption. You want to give some to other classes so that they feel unique. For instance, you could have given, let's see, green. I could have given green a bunch of interrupts, but they already have taunt. Okay, so they could have less taunts. Purple doesn't really have much other than discarding stuff, so it could be the main thing for that. Having interrupts, that would be a good mechanic to have just purple with the interrupts, and some with blue, some with others, but 4 would be the only one with 8 total interrupts in the card pool. And like red, I would not give red a single interrupt. Not one, because they have a ton of offensive disruption. They already have too much going for them. They do not need the defensive disruption on top of that. You could combine the colors to gain defensive disruption, but it wouldn't be as powerful as the unique color that's meant to be good with the disruption. That's how I'd really balance it. I'd remove a bunch of the disruption, defensive disruption from the red and blue and green, so that purple could have more of a utility to it. Like, why would I use purple when I could use blue-red for dragon decks? Because there's like already too many interrupts in both of them. There's no reason for me to take blue-purple for more interrupts, or there's no reason for me taking red purple because there's no unique benefit from having purple. The only thing there is in purple is butchering, discarding, and the strike through, or I can't remember, but it's uninterruptible from blocks. That is the only thing that allows it. We want variety in our games. Number 4 is similar to 5, but it's still very different. We want to have a variety in our defensive disruption. Right now we only have the interrupts for our defensive disruption. Where's our counter to gun spam? Where is our counter to attacking twice? Blue has one, but it's not good enough, and it doesn't allow the players to currently have any way to counteract the meta decks. Like, for instance, Pokemon has Clefairy. If we didn't have Clefairy, Dragapult EX, one of the most powerful cards in the format, considered the most powerful right now, would be everywhere. It would be a 90% on all the meta stuff. But because of Lily's Clefairy, we have something to counteract it. It's not trumping it completely. It is still a liability, but because we have it, we have more room for all the other decks to have fun. And that's what I want for Palworld. I want to see more defensive disruption for the offensive disruption and aggressive strategies to keep the playing field more or less even whenever you can play the card. So I would include a card that prevents gun damage to itself, or it gives your pal protection from gun damage. For instance, this should be probably, I think, like the shield effect from the game where you have the shield generator. That could be a card that protects from gun damage. That's what I would do. And there are a couple different things that you could run it with it as well. You could also have a pal that makes all gun damage removed, but it would have to be a lucky card or an 8 cost, so that guns aren't completely trumped. We don't want to trump your strategy, we just want it to be able to be where you can still play the game around the strategy. Going around a strategy and showing people that they can play around it and giving them the energy and like motivation to do it, that's great. Number 3 is pretty important, but I realize it's kind of similar to some of the previous ones, so I'm going to just quickly go through this one. I want some more active disruption in the game where you're disrupting both yourself and your opponent over the entire round, like as long as it's in play, and I'd make sure this is a defined thing in a certain archetype. This could be, for instance, a blue thing. Moving on to number 2, the second most important thing, and that is a cardinal sin for card games. Palworld committed a cardinal sin. Oh no! What is the cardinal sin they committed? They connected life to deck. They committed the cardinal sin of life decking. So what did they do and how is this a bad thing? They made you discard cards whenever you lose life. Why is this bad? One, it makes your players lose cards that they wanted to play, and it makes them feel like, oh no, because of this mechanic, I can't do anything because I lost card advantage from my deck and life advantage. That is a double negative. No one likes that. And what is the second bad thing about this? It removes an entire archetype from your game. It prevents you from being creative whenever you're creating the game. It removes mill. Mill is a very popular archetype. Well, it's not like the main archetype, but a lot of people enjoy mill. It's a whole thing in Magic and Pokemon, and by making your deck relate to your life and your milling cards because of losing life, why would you want to make a whole mill deck whenever you're already milling people? And I feel like because of the 50 card deck and you're already milling 3 to 5 per turn, you cannot make a mill deck better than this without making it overpowered. How would I change this? There are two things I would do, or like interchangeably. I wouldn't do both of them at the same time because that would be insane, at least at the start. One is dangerous, and this is a rule change that wouldn't affect it too bad, but you'd have to be very careful by introducing this, and you'd have to limit interrupts to like max of 4th. And that would be having, instead of going to discard, you go into hand whenever you lose life. This would allow your game to have a comeback, and it would allow your players to be able to see more cards, play the game, and have more of a competitive thought process. Like, do I want to give this person a extra card and get ahead on life? Or do I want to get hit so I can draw cards and possibly get into that lucky that will prevent it and get in the advantage because of that? Like, do I really want to lose life here? Is it going to make me lose the game? Is it going to make me win the game by drawing the cards to get the pieces that I don't have yet? This allows for much more competitive thought process. That's what you want for your game. That's what you love for your game. It also helps with the casual players because it helps reduce the amount of bricking. Not that bricking is bad or anything. This is a very key part of games, and it's good most of the time. My second option would be introducing a card that allows you to play it for free or near free whenever it's played off the top, whenever it's discarded. This would not be a very good card, but it would give you an option if you don't want to really change the rules. This is a must if you're going to keep it how it is. I would have to say this is like the biggest thing. It cannot be a lucky, period, because that would counteract the like aspect of luckies. If it was a lucky, it would have to have a secondary effect. But generally, this is a must for the game if it doesn't change the rules. I honestly feel like this is a very important thing, but it's not as important as number 1. But I still really want to emphasize that this is something I'd potentially leave the game over, just as the same as number 1. So what makes number one so important? Well, number one is that the game is bland right now. There isn't really many unique mechanics in this game. It is sadly just a clone of a bunch of different mechanics. The souls mechanic, not unique to the game. The deck size, not unique. None of it's really unique. The only thing I see that's unique is the rest 3 to draw 1. I like that. That helps prevent bricking. And then also the structures where you assign a pal. I think the assigning pal was a I really this is something I would really change. I would make it to where they have to have, let's say, crafting for the crafting workbench. Because in the video game, you can't assign a kindling pal to a crafting bench. You have to have the unique thing. This is something that is super simple and wouldn't change the game very much. I'd have to change this in the game if I was the dev. And then also I'd include a bunch of mechanics that are similar to the game to try and introduce more unique mechanics. This is something that I'll tell you, like even card games like Harry Potter, the card game, they died in 2 years. It's the 2 year curse. If this game is going to do well and survive the 2 year curse, it has to have unique card mechanics. And I can't emphasize this enough. You have to have something unique to give your players that's not going to be found somewhere else. I'm not kidding. You cannot let your game be bland. I would probably introduce something with the dungeons. Dungeons allowing you to send your pals into the dungeon to gain reset soul or something else as a mechanic. Or introduce something like the altar that allows you to summon the powerful pals. Something out there. Those are two things that took me like 10 minutes to think up. But it's just something that you need that allows you to be unique to your own game. Have something that's going to be the I'll say hallmark, but I don't know if that's the right word, but something that's, oh my, this is unique to this game. I can't find this anywhere else. We need something like that in Palworld. And if any of you guys think of something that would be great in the game, put it in the comments. But in general, if you agree with me, like the video. If you don't, comment down below and tell me why. Be cordial, because I won't respond to you if you're just raving in my comments. But if you're cordial, I'll respond. I love it when I hear other opinions because, like from earlier when I was talking on the chats, I talked to someone and I was originally going to talk about how turn 1 was overpowered, but because seeing all the data that he gave me, I realized that it is actually perfect. We're at 48 win percent for going first. You do not want it to get any higher than that, or else your game starts to feel like turn 1 is the only thing. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, we're having trouble with turn 1 turbo. And shout out to the Palworld devs for making this game, and shout out to Neshina, the person who's creating the website. They're doing a great job on that. Take care, and have a lovely day as always.